Hello and good morning and welcome to this week's episode of This Is In. My name is Emily Gorman. I'm the Director of Community Engagement with AARP Indiana. And you might notice that I'm not joined by Addison Pollock. Instead, I am joined by the wonderful
Mel Bolander, Senior Program Assistant. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Thank you for joining us today, Mel. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So today is episode 3, I believe, in our series of Community Challenge Grant episodes, where we're going to be joined by winners of the 2023 Community Challenge Grant Program. As you may remember, on June 28th, AARP announced the chosen grantees for the 2023 Community Challenge Grant. These are organizations from all across the Hoosier State that are working to make their communities more livable for residents of all ages. As you may have learned from our live announcement a couple weeks ago, AARP Indiana is planning to interview as many of these grantees as we possibly can. And last week, we were joined by Morgan Sparks from Grow Jasonville for an awesome episode. But today, we are joined by a very special guest. Her name is Lisa Floyd, and she is from the South Madison Foundation. So with that, we're going to invite her to join us on screen. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. If you want to go ahead and just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about who you are, that would be great.
Okay. I'm Lisa Floyd. I am the Community Project Steward with the South Madison Community Foundation, and we're actually located in Pendleton, Madison County. And I've been with the foundation since 2007. I was the executive director for 10 years and then semi-retired and took on the responsibilities of scholarship management. And for the last year and a half, have been doing lots of community outreach and placemaking here in Pendleton and South Madison County.
Wonderful. And I love that you chose to represent AARP with your t-shirt today. That was a great choice.
It was exciting to get. It was exciting to get the box of t-shirts. Yes.
Mel, if you want to kick us off with the first question, go ahead.
Yeah. Can you tell us more about the South Madison Foundation and your favorite part of your role?
The South Madison Community Foundation has been in existence since 1991, a very unique aspect of Indiana. And thanks to the early and continuing generosity of Lilly Endowment, there are 72 community foundations in the state of Indiana representing all 94 counties. And maybe I got that backwards. Maybe I always forget how many counties there are. But either 72 or 74 community foundations. So every single county in Indiana is represented by at least one community foundation. One of the tasks that we were all provided by, again, through Lilly Endowment, was to be a convener and a conduit within each of our communities to learn what the community needs and the community wants, and then through donors to the community foundation and their passions, meeting those needs and those wants so that each community is represented with boots on the ground, if you will, people that are local residents helping local residents. So as part of that, and just an extension of that over the years, South Madison Community Foundation has become more outgoing in the community, surveying residents, asking them what they would like to see and what they would like their local community to look like. So if you take it then down to the micro level, we are now doing a lot of local projects to provide sources for residents of all ages to gather, to have reasons to come together around shared interests. And so this AARP funded project then is just an example of that, where we will be offering the opportunity to connect older residents with younger members of our community, to form some hopefully long-lasting relationships.
Amazing. That's awesome. I love to hear all of that stuff. So I wondered, your project application was one of 80 that we had for the state of Indiana this year, which was huge. And your project really stood out to us. And so I wondered if you could tell us a little bit more about your project specifically, what it's going to look like, where it's located, things like that, just to give us a little more of an insight.
Sure. So we're calling this the Depot Park Reimagination. In downtown Pendleton, there is a little strip of green space, and we locals call it the Depot Park because there actually was a depot there during the time that the interurban ran through downtown Pendleton. And the depot building has long since been torn down. And really all that remains is a little strip of green grass with a paved path going through it, and a couple of trees. But if you stand there and you look all four perspectives, all four sides, you see some undeveloped space or buildings that are either not being used or not in the best of shape in terms of the aesthetics of it. So that space also is on the radar for the town of Pendleton to redevelop somehow. It almost serves as a gateway into our fabulous public park that we have that's over 258 acres within the downtown area. But again, it's undeveloped. It's one side is a parking lot. The other side is an undeveloped parking lot. So we felt that this was perfect space to do an imagination project to see what it could look like. And by installing some benches and sunshades and chairs that are non-permanent, but yet going to be there in the space for at least this summer and probably brought out again next summer, that we could give residents the opportunity to imagine what it could look like. We are very fortunate in that we have a private school, catty cornered, that has just purchased an old house catty cornered from this little green space, and that's going to be their new campus. And so it fits in perfectly that they are part of this space. They're redeveloping their space, but then they can connect just by crossing the street into this space. They are very focused also on being very much involved in the community. And so the connection of having their students come together with older residents of our community to have conversations within this space, to learn from each other. And then the students will be actually producing a journal or a storybook based on their interviews with the volunteers, the individuals that are going to be having the conversations.
I love that intergenerational element. That was one of my favorite parts of your application.
We're very excited about that. The individuals that I've talked to in the community that we're targeting to be part of the conversations, and the students themselves are very excited about this aspect of it too.
It sounds like there's a great community buy-in. Why do you think that this project is important to making Pendleton a more livable community?
Some of the larger community conversations that the foundation has hosted over the past year and a half have revolved around people, individuals and residents saying, we love the connectivity that we have in our community, but we feel like there are people that are missing out on the committee, on the conversations, and missing out on this connectivity. Conversations that were held with younger people in the community resulted in some things that they were saying, like, we like being a part of the community, but we're not always offered the opportunity. So this whole project and this collaboration, if you will, is a direct result of those larger conversations. And so we feel like that we're solving 2 or 3 different issues. We're addressing those issues: beautification of a space, reimagination of a space, but also offering that opportunity for connectivity.
It's amazing. And so you were kind of touching on the foundation for this project, and the original idea is kind of to demonstrate what this could look like in the future. So what would the plans be? This all goes ahead. We're at the end of the project. What's the next steps? What's the hopes for the future for this project?
The town of Pendleton and their employees are very much involved in the infrastructure of building this out. So the town will then, at the end of the season, will move and store the equipment for us. And then the expectation is that they are going to bring that equipment back out next year. Most likely it will probably go back in the exact same configuration that it's going to be this summer, because I don't think, based on conversations with the town leaders, I don't think by early next summer, at least, they're going to have that space developed yet. So it will be available again. And even during this year, this is public space. So even though we're hosting structured conversations at particular times, this space is open for anyone to take their cup of coffee from 2 of the local coffee shops that are within 50 yards of this space over to that space, use that space for gathering. So the expectation is that it will be rebuilt again next summer, available for anyone to use it. And then once the park and the town decide what that space is going to look like, if it does not stay green space, then there are lots of places still around town that can be set up in little conversation hubs using these pieces of equipment that we've been able to purchase through the grant.
Well, I'm excited to head out there and try some of those coffee shops that you have talked about.
Yes, yes. We will be more than happy to give you a tour of our beautiful little downtown area, which, by the way, is on the historic registry, the National Historic Register. So happy to host anyone and show you around the town and the park and our little Depot Park space. Yes.
So Lisa, what are you personally most looking forward to with this project?
I think as a resident of the town, just at any point in the day, walking through there and seeing it being used, because now there are 3 benches there that are a little bit less than conducive to gathering, I would say. But I'm just excited about walking through there and just seeing it being used by lots of different people for lots of different reasons. And then being able to envision what it can look like in the future.
Love it. I'm definitely down for a road trip, Mel. We need to go check it out. And I actually don't live too far from Pendleton myself, so that would be awesome.
Yes.
So with that, we're almost to the end of our chat with you today. I wondered if there's anything we missed or anything else that you want to make sure that we mention before we sign off.
Other than being able to thank all the partners and the collaboration that has been realized through this project and through this grant. Obviously, AARP, the town of Pendleton, Acton Academy is the private school that will be collaborating with us and their students. And then really looking forward to recruiting all of the adults that are going to be sharing their time with us.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And as you can see, we do have the South Madison Foundation website at the bottom. Please come and check it out.
Mm-hmm.
And please be sure to check back here on our Facebook page to hear more about the AARP Community Challenge Grant and how it's making communities across Indiana even more livable for all ages. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank
you, Lisa.
Bye-bye.